My name is Robert Coons. I'm the youngest. I'm going to let my oldest brother go last. But I have about 4 stories. My perspective of Steve is a little different because I was the youngest. And Marvel sort of said he was a bully. And so, matter of fact, I have some people out here I want to ask some questions. But first of all, I'd like to just thank everyone for coming. I sort of asked, well, where's the family going to sit? And I see now what they meant. They said everywhere. Because I see everybody here, and almost everybody here is family. So it's good to see everybody. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes something like this to bring a lot of us together. And that's the blessing, that's the joy within the storm. Amen. But a few things. Steve, when we were real young, you know, I looked a little different than the family. Actually, when I was young, you wouldn't believe it or not now, but I actually had blonde hair. I had blonde hair and curly hair. And I was young, so I didn't look like I was African American at all. And so Steve, through his genius, and I always thought about how am I going to get back, because I thought my brother was crazy. And I was trying to get back at him some type of way for the things that he was doing. So he would come up to me and say, Robert, I said, what? He says, you know you're adopted. And I looked up. I said, what you mean? He says, do you ever notice that you're different? You got and you don't look like us. Look at Marvel's feet, they're darker, and look at you. But actually, he got Marvel to go ask, Father, am I really adopted? But see, I used to always just sort of take notes and I think, okay, how am I going to get back there? So I processed that and put it back in my mind. And so one time we were downtown, and Steve was picking on me. He had this game where he said, okay, when we were walking away from the show, okay, let's all put our money together. We'll have a party. So we put our money in, and he bought big bags of candy, and of course, Stevie would hold the candy. And one of these times, I got mad, I got upset, and he started hitting me. I was walking back because I was sort of rebel the whole time. He hit me, and it's like, and I was crying, and in the process, bing, bing, I looked different. I said, okay. And Marvin and Steve were in there, and they were both on me. So I went and I got the policeman. Policeman and these 2 black kids. Go down to the YMCA every week for gymnastics, but also we get to swim and do things there. So Stevie and Joey, one time they said, hey, let's work on our lifestyle. They were with the boys club and they were doing all the swimming. And they said, let's practice our life-saving techniques. I didn't know how to swim. So they threw me in the pool. I'm drowning. Joey, what were you thinking? And then they were treating to some candy because they knew I didn't tell me, you know, if I told my father, they were going to give me some candy. So one day we was at Balboa Park. And it always was just water involved. And Steve was at the edge of this big old pond and he was playing around. And he said, look at fellas, if you look at you guys, just one slip and I'll fall. And he went, and I said, yeah, let's see you swimming now. And he was swimming. He thought he was trying to swim. And then he found out he could stand up because the water was God got away on him. Then one time we got older and I was in high school. And so he had been off to the military, and where he got a lot of his political activism. God just gave me the spirit, I guess. And so, for whatever reason, my mother and father were out of town on a trip or something. Steve had just come home from the military, and it was right when the Kent State had the shooting at Kent State. So I organized this rally at Morris High School as a demonstration to sit in an educational situation. So I went and we stopped the whole school. We just made the whole school stand still, and we were on the senior line and we were talking and everything. And my principal called my house to get my parents to stop me from doing what I was doing. Well, Stevie answered the phone. He said, "Oh yeah, we'll be right there." So Stevie came down, and I was up on the trash and Marvel, and I was up on the trash and talking and everything. And then it was over, the demonstration was over, and the principal was like, "Hey, you gonna do something about your brother?" And so then a little demonstration was over and everybody was in class. He said, "Robert, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, everything's over. We're going in the class." And I thought, because we hadn't seen each other in a long time, and when he said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, heck, I'm in trouble." I said, "Well, that's what's up, how it's going to be." And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well," he says, no. You don't supposed to have him go back to class. You're supposed to shut up. You got to come with me because I'm going to show you how to do it. This guy had me going to the Indochina Peace Camp. James Bond, all these guys, and then I'm hanging with him. We walking down, shut down the freeway. We walking down the freeway, holding the city hostage and all that. Just crazy stuff. And one day he let me borrow his car, and these people stopped me. And they didn't identify themselves. And they had suits on and everything. They said, "Are you Steve Coons?" I said, "Man, well, I'm trying to be bad. What is it to you?" Get out the car. And they got up and put my handcuffs around me, and then they started searching the car and see if anybody would have drove this car. Was it? Anybody remember that yellow brim?
Yeah. Famous lemon.
Yeah, the famous lemon. That was another story too. That was another story. All the story all that. Anyway, you can pull the stick shift out and hold it. So they had me and everything else, and they said, "Well, if you ever like this," and the guy he threatened to have a gun right there. "If you ever do this and stuff, we're gonna come after you and everything else." And I thought they were going to take me, but they got, and Stevie had some political literature about a demonstration. And so the guy, demonstration, and he read it, and then he said, "Okay, you can go." And so I left, and when we went to that demonstration, there wasn't nothing but police all around. They knew so we could get the word out. So then years later, he's helping me coach boxing. I told you I'm always thinking about how to get back. I'm coaching boxing, and Richard Steele's in the ring. Richard Steele, for those of you who don't know, very, very big in the world of boxing. He's a professional referee who's probably the top notch in his field. But I was pretty well known at the time too. I used to coach on the Olympic teams and everything. And so Richard was doing something about, and Stevie was in the corner, and I think it was a television broadcast, I'm not sure. And I got up and I said, "Richard, you got to do this. And Richard looked at me, and then there was Olympic, I was coaching against the other Olympic coach at the time. I said, "You got to do this. You missed this call, and this call. What are you doing, man? You act like you ain't never ref before." He looked at me, and then I went over to the other Olympic coach, and I said, "Man, your guy is dirty. He's hitting in the back, man. You guys don't know what you're doing." And Stevie was with me, and Stevie, he was like this, looking at me like, and he said, "Robert, you crazy. You got me scared." I said, "This is boxing, man. You scared about boxing? You had to help me out."